Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Crewzin the Void. My name's Fish, and the question I asked myself is, you ever notice that nobody recommends sports to adults anymore? Your life's falling apart, go to therapy, meditation, journaling. What if I could tell you the answer was dodgeball? Buckle up, let's talk about it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So one of the things I was really thinking about this week and asking myself is, why don't we recommend sports to adults anymore as like a solution to their problems? We recently had Nagy on and we talked to him about him starting his adult lacrosse league. And I think this is definitely something we need to normalize and have a real conversation about. And one of the first things I want to talk about is, why do we stop playing? Because you notice after high school, nobody thinks about sports at all unless they were truly, truly in, right? Like it was truly a thing. What if we started to make that normal? Like we see sports as not doing sports as growing up. And I say that in quotation marks because people see you do sports and they're like, oh man, that's kid stuff. I personally can't comprehend where that idea came from, but it's turned into a cultural norm and expectation that doing sports is generally considered childish. You should be using your time appropriately and grinding and hustling and making sure that you're making money and being efficient. But yet, at the same time, we prioritize it so much in kids. If somebody's under the age of 18, the answer to almost everything is, oh, get them in sports, and they'll do X, Y, and Z, right? They'll learn how to work hard. They'll get friends. They will develop a resilience for conflict. There's so many things that we say that happen to sports and kids, and we think that, I guess once we become adults, that it just shouldn't be practiced anymore. Even though I truly believe this should be something that we practice all throughout our lives. But let's talk about why it's so rare for adults to keep playing sports. First of all, one of the big things, let's talk about why this is cultural norms. One of the first things we already addressed is that this is for kids, but also the time and scarcity and priorities. Adults are told that we need to hustle, grind, work, make money, start families. Leisure time is often seen as selfish or lazy if you're not contributing to either finding a way to make money or make the world a better place. And we need to change that narrative. One of the other things I think we also lose track of is there's a big fear of embarrassment when you start sports. A lot of people don't want to start a new sport and learn from the ground up. They're scared to go back to being a blank whiteboard and letting somebody teach them something. It's not even necessarily let them teach something. It's just being afraid to look embarrassed or look silly or be embarrassed doing something new. And I think that needs to become a normalized conversation that, hey, it's okay to fail at stuff, and failing often is perfectly fine. But also, nobody's looking at you in the room. Like we're all doing our own thing and trying to get better around here. So with that, we need to normalize that conversation of it's okay to fail. There's also not a real built-in system, right? Where in college and high school, you just kind of show up and there's the sports team. Whereas now you kind of have to do research and find local leagues and X, Y, and Z, because there's not just always the city sports team. You know what I mean? Especially depending on the sport. If you played a smaller sport in America, at least like rugby, there's plenty of adult leagues, but you have to go out of your way to dig and find them. So we need to normalize, we need to make it more common so that these systems grow themselves. And then I think there's an overemphasis on fitness versus actual fun, right? We see people go to the gym all the time, but why do they go to the gym? Stay in shape and to look good. Those are the two answers that we hear all the time. But why don't we choose to use it for anything? Staying in shape doesn't mean just getting out of breath on my walks. It's being able to go to the local YMCA and play a whole 30 to 45 minutes of basketball without needing a sub. It's the ability to go running with my dog and not be outrun by my dog. It's the ability to play hockey when I get to go and do the stick and shoots. There's so many different things that fitness should be used for, but we just put such an emphasis on being in shape, not the actual practicality of using it. What does it mean to be in shape in the world other than looking good and being healthy? I think a lot of people couldn't tell you that much deeper, and I think that's part of our conversation. Now let's talk about some of the things that people are missing with sports. Social connection, that's an easy. But one of the bigger things that I want to see with, especially in adults, is an identity beyond work. Because back to our hustle and flow mentality, or our hustle and grind mentality, there's so many people that their identity is their job. And you think about so many other aspects of your life that, and even time spans in your life, that your identity isn't what you do, right? What you do to make money. It's so many other things than that. So what other point in your life did you do just one thing 40 hours a week and that became your personal identity? I want you to ask that question, because it wasn't in high school, wasn't in college, probably won't be when you're retired, right? So why do we have to dedicate our identity to this working structure for 20 to 30 years of my life? That seems off to me. So the idea of having identity, purpose, and growth in all these different aspects, socially, internally, emotional resilience, outside of work, should be absolutely encouraged. Now let's also talk about the mental health boost. We know just doing fitness makes us feel better. In lacrosse, the Onondaga Nation believes that they were given the game by the creator so that they could be healthier, because the creator gave it to them as medicine. So whenever you're sick, you're having a bad day, you're feeling down, go play lacrosse and it will make you feel better. That's what the Onondaga people believed, as the creator, their God, gave them this game. That's something that we need to take and we can use across all aspects of just getting outside and playing games and doing fun, man. And I think we need to encourage that more. Every age bracket, every single one of them. And the other thing is emotional resilience, right? You learn how to be calm when people are shouting at you. You learn how to be calm when you're having a bad day, right? Like you're just not, this is supposed to be your fun time and you're getting your ass handed to you. That takes practice to be able to mentally bounce back from throughout the game. And I think these are all things that need to be addressed, and we can also fix in ourselves just by having any sort of role on a sports team, right? It could be volleyball, it could be basketball, it could be soccer, and truly anything that brings you joy that involves that physical activity while doing it. Or have a delayed gratification culture. One of the big things we do is we tell everybody to hustle, grind, get it all done now so that you can retire and enjoy it later. But why do I have to give up my most athletic, strongest years of my life to make as much money as possible so I can have money when I don't want to work anymore. Right? We never have that conversation. Why is it this way? That's the question I want to ask everybody. And if you just call it capitalism, there's probably a little bit more to it than just that. The other thing is we don't use the athlete as a role in society. People are defined, back to our identity purposes, as parent, worker, partner. I'm a wife, I'm a husband, I'm mom, I'm dad. I am executive, VP, da 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 da, right? Nobody is ever like, you know what? I'm the local dodgeball champion, all right? Nobody in this city is gonna touch me. Hey, bud. And even if you do have that attitude, people do not encourage it. They're like, well, I mean, what's that doing for society? I don't know. Why don't you ask my teammates that are all happy, healthy individuals that have phenomenal mental states, because we get to play dodgeball every week, get our frustrations out. We get to show up to a mutual ground of conflict, because I think one of the other things we're missing is there's a lot of conflict in our day-to-day lives, and a lot of people let their emotions take over in that because they don't have a mutual ground to get that inner conflict out in them. I guarantee you, if you go to a boxing gym and you do a sparring night, so you do 2-minute rounds, 3-minute rounds, and you do 5 to 8 of those things, you're not going to want to get into a fight with anybody of them. You're going to be too tired. 1, but 2, you're going to already have gotten your conflict out with your opponents that you were working through with that night. So I think this is something that we all need to address inside of those things. And I think there's something that we can all normalize together. Now, let's talk about some of my experiences going through this. I started a new sport when I turned 30. I turned 30, I started Muay Thai. The amount of martial arts that I had before that was, I think, maybe 3 to 4 years of karate from when I was a little kid before I was in preschool. I think I did that for like a year, and then I did it for 2 years while I was in Hawaii. I don't know. Not a lot is the answer. So before the age of 10, that's when I had done martial arts. Now, growing into it as an adult, I showed up, and it was one of the most humbling moments in the room for the first hour that I just kind of stood on the, not even hour, I'd say what felt like an hour, right? But was really only 5 minutes when coach told me to stand on the side and shadow box and whatever, and I had no idea what to do. And then we go through practice, and towards the end, I remember one guy going, "Don't worry, man, you can hit me. You're not going to hurt me." That is probably one of the most humbling moments in my life, when somebody told me with a smile on their face, "There's nothing you can do to hurt me. No matter how hard you try, you don't know what you're doing." And that was, he didn't say that directly, but he said just politely, as in, "You can hit me, you're not going to hurt me." But to me, that's what I heard. And it was embarrassing and low. But I remember just how much fun I had learning these new techniques, and also just being in a room with a bunch of people trying to get better at something for no reason, right? We weren't just doing it because we all enjoyed martial arts. And I was just trying something new. And that's where I'm at today, is even 4 years later, I'm still training, and I still have that same attitude towards it of let's all just get better, because this is an infinite process now where we can look into ourselves and grow. And if I wasn't able to take that low moment going into it, I would have never gotten to this beautiful place of where I am now. And then fast forward a few months ago, when I signed up for my first adult lacrosse league in probably 10 years. I played in them after college, a little bit back home in Virginia when I was in my early 20s, but I didn't sign up again until I was in my 30s here. I was 34, and I signed up for a 30 and up league, which was an eye-opener in myself of that, hey, I'm one of the old dinosaurs now. which was cool though, also knowing that I was going into it with a bunch of people my age, right? We were still going to be competitive, but none of us are trying to play against 22, which is a completely different game in of itself. And everybody, at least for the most part, was like me, enjoyed working out, enjoyed being in shape, and wanted some active outlets to do it. Or were just dudes that enjoyed lacrosse and just only lacrosse. So it was really cool in that aspect of joining a league and being on the same page with everybody, and also joining in with people that I knew were going to be on my same athletic idea, right? Like nobody's trying to kill anybody out here, but we're all trying to have a good time and hit each other and push each other around. Now, that was another time where you just kind of had to embrace the humble and also embrace the fear of new things. Because I remember walking onto the field the first time and just like trying to find my guys that had the jersey that I was assigned to because I wasn't given the jersey, and going, hi, I'm your small 145-pound defenseman. Let's play lacrosse and have fun. And everybody just writing you off from the jump, right? Because they've all been playing in the same league with these guys for years and know each other. And you're the new guy on the block, and you got to show your way up and earn your spot on the team. So with that, I think there's something fun in swallowing that ego and going to a place where you can grow and become something. And when you do that, oftentimes you find all these cool things on the other side. And then also, let's talk about how competitive some of these leagues can get, right? There are plenty of, I'm sure, leagues that are out there that are dodgeball, kickball, that are extremely competitive in people's mindsets, but maybe not in actual gameplay. And then same thing with basketball. You're going to go the exact opposite, where you'll have a lot more humble egos. You'll have obviously some at the top levels, but generally you're going to have a lot more people that have crafted the discipline to build their skill set and movement vocabulary in these sports. And you're going to find that same mindset with you, where people are just trying to grow. So, yeah. This is your challenge for everyone. I want you to text a friend, sign up for a game or a league or something that's not a local 5K. Or maybe it's a relay of a 5K. I'm cool with that. But it's got to be some team aspect of something. Soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, anything. But I challenge you. Get out there and go do something new.